I have nothing to hide.
Then prove it.
Riverdale goes all I know what you did last summer on us this week, so let's break down Season 3, Episode 20 and find out just what happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here with another weekly Riverdale recap for you. Now, in shows like this, you know that prom night usually never has a happy ending, and that is in fact the case here in our little town of Riverdale. This episode, I feel like, was honestly just an excuse to bring Molly Ringwald back and to also see how many guys they could get shirtless in one episode, and I think the count is 4 in this one. But yeah, we have the return of the Black Hood because, as expected, he's not dead, and Veronica learns a secret, plus there's a lot more. So let's just go ahead and dive in and see what ridiculousness we get into this week. First, let's talk about Archiekins. So in the show, Fred has gone out of town for a while, and Mary has come to town for a bit to stay with him. Now, last recap, I thought Hiram had convinced Veronica to get Archie back in that boxing ring, but I think I was wrong on that, and so I'm going to apologize for that theory. It seems like he just knew his daughter better than she knows herself. He knew his daughter would be greedy like him. I mean, the apple does not fall far from the tree. And Veronica basically just wants Archie to get back in the ring for her own benefit. Pretty much to make more money, to promote him, to get money and a stake in the gym. Yeah, basically for that, instead of the fact that, you know, her boyfriend, or her friend likes boxing. So yeah, Veronica's his promoter, and as his manager, she's already signed him up for the regional classic to jumpstart his boxing career. She also wants to fix up the gym, so she's going to invest in it because she wants a property on the south side. Yeah, if that doesn't sound like Hiram Jr., I don't know what does. Now, Archie is excited about this tournament, but he needs a parent's signature to participate, and as expected, Mary Andrews does not support her son giving up his education to get pummeled in the face. So Archie goes back to Veronica with a signed form because, yes, as I feel like a lot of us did in high school, because I know I did, he forged his mom's signature. He then asks Veronica to go to prom with him, but just as friends, and she says yes. Now, when Archie returns home, his mom has thought about his love for boxing and has actually set Archie up with a meeting with her old roommate, who's now a Navy recruiter, and she wants to talk to Archie about the boxing program they have. So Archie meets with Brooke, this recruiter, and initially likes the idea, but thinks that serving 5 years active duty after graduation means he'll be out of his prime years of boxing and he's not going to make money off it. But he does agree to an exhibition match with Fangs on Friday to show her his skills. When Archie weighs in with the boxing commissioner for this tournament, he's unfortunately 6 pounds overweight, and also learns that he has to make this weight cut by Friday because, of course, someone has magically changed the date of his Saturday fight to Friday, the same day as his other fight. So now Archie has to lose 6 pounds in around a week and fight twice on Friday. So he starts working out like crazy and doing his little Rocky montage, trying to lose weight and stuff. And it's interesting he doesn't do like the trash bags and whatever that suit is you always see the UFC fighters and boxers wear. And well, Archie does end up making his weight class, but he loses the fight at the tournament and gets his butt kicked pretty badly. So badly, Veronica does not want him to fight in the exhibition match, and she tells him she'll go in first and tell Mary and Brooke that Archie has food poisoning. But Archie walks in determined to do this fight. But then he tries to get in the ring and trips and passes out. So yeah, that's a no-go. When he comes to, Mary's sitting over him and she now knows the truth, and he's basically like, I was just trying to do things your way, and whines about his future and how boxing is the only thing that he has in his future, when Mary's just kind of like, you're 17. And it's like, thank you, Mary. Like, Archie thinks he has no future when it comes to college and all that because he couldn't concentrate enough to take his SATs because he was behind a few weeks because he was being chased out of town by killers and got attacked by a bear. That's a pretty good excuse to be behind in your studies and to have some PTSD to not be able to concentrate on your SATs. Like, God forbid that Archie gets held back a year. He's a junior. His friends will still be at the school next year. Just get a tutor, work really hard, and I'm sure you could catch up. I mean, I swear this boy gets dumber and dumber every episode, and every boxing match is not helping his brain cells any. But that's my rant. Eventually, Mary does come around, though, and says she's going to stay in Riverdale a little longer, and she realizes how committed Archie is to boxing, so she's going to support his path as long as he does it right. And again, I'm still kind of bored with this Archie boxing storyline. The only exciting thing about it, I guess, is when he takes his shirt off, and even that's starting to get a little bit old. As far as Veronica goes, she learns from Pop that she doesn't exactly own Pops or the Speakeasy. Hiram actually tricked her, giving her a fake deed. So now she recruits Archie to help her manipulate Hiram into digging his own grave to take him down for good. She's going to obviously pretend like nothing has happened and do it in her own little way. So of course Archie is all in, and I'm guessing this is what leads to the boxing match between Hiram and Archie that KJ Apa has been teasing. Also, this whole thing comes about because Veronica's trying to get a loan from the bank to help with the gym, and it's like, really, what bank in their right mind is giving this 16, 17-year-old a business loan? Yeah, I don't know. Moving on, we now have Betty and Jughead's stories kind of intersecting. So Betty and Veronica go to the crash site of Hal's bus, and it seems like it was so severe that these bodies are all sliced up and burned to a crisp and scattered all around. So they've sent the DNA off, but FP says that Hal is dead. But Betty's still not buying it and thinks Hal planned this whole thing, and I think we're all right there with her, even if no one else believes her. So Betty tries to tell Alice that Hal is on the loose, but she calls Betty delusional. As for Jughead, Jellybean is still mad that Gladys left her, and Jughead doesn't want her to play G&G anymore. And then he learns that Jellybean has met the Gargoyle King, who gave her and Ricky a new quest. That quest was to find the gospel so they could enter the kingdom, but she never found it, and this gospel contains all the Gargoyle King's secrets. So now Jughead's like, I gotta find this gospel. And Betty, she decides to learn some self-defense and goes to the firing range. And then she gets a call from Dr. Curdle Jr., who confirms that a hand that was found at the crash site matches the fingerprints and DNA of Hal, and he says Hal is dead. And we see Betty cry, but yeah, still not buying the fact that this dude is dead. Meanwhile, Jughead and FP go to the junkyard where they find a bus that Kurtz and the other gargoyles were living in, and Jughead ends up finding a gospel hidden inside the seat. So Jughead takes this gospel back to Betty, explains what's in it, the Gargoyle King lore and all of that, and now Betty really wants to take this Gargoyle King down once and for all. So they then go to see Dr. Curdle Jr. again to learn about Kurtz's autopsy, and they learn that Kurtz has the same symbols on his back as all the others, but they're not carved in. Instead, they're a tattoo that he got about a month ago. So now our sleuthing duo head to the tattoo parlor, where the tattoo artist says he gave that same tattoo to someone a year ago. Someone with sandy blonde hair, blue eyes, who is weirdly magnetic and doesn't like cameras. So immediately Betty thinks it's Edgar Evanever, since that matches up to the time that he and the farm came around. And Edgar recently made Alice get an infinity tattoo on her wrist. I mean, doesn't Hal also kind of have sandy hair? Now, when Jughead brings up the Ascension night from their parents' flashback in high school, Betty says that Edgar must have heard Alice's confessions, and maybe he thought he could take up that mantle. So she's determined to prove her theory that Edgar is this Gargoyle King. She marches right into the farm, but can we just take a second here to address this part of the clip?
When their elders die, would consume their bodies to absorb the wisdom. Very good question, Alice.
Yeah, as if the farm wasn't creepy enough. They're freaking cannibals. They eat their elders who die. Like, what the F, Riverdale? What is this show seriously turning into? You think you could just slip that in and we wouldn't notice? But back to business. Betty demands that Edgar, well, remove his shirt, and I'm not mad about it because Chad Michael Murray's pretty much looking like a nice little snack there, but then again, we just keep objectifying the men on this show. Is that a bad thing? It's probably a bad thing, right? Anyway, Betty is disappointed to learn that he has no tattoos on his back, just an infinity symbol on his wrist. So now she's like back to square one. So they gotta come up with another plan, and they decide to lure the Gargoyle King out. So they're gonna do it on prom night, and they're gonna use Betty as the Griffin Queen for bait. So if she wins prom queen, that should lure the king out, and you know, they can finally figure out who it is. So now they just need to kind of change the theme to something Griffins and Gargoyles that the Gargoyle King would fit into, which proves to be easier than they expected. Because you see, Cheryl, who was so gung-ho at the beginning of this episode about running prom and being crowned prom monarchs with Tony, she was so excited until she was reprimanded by Evelyn and Edgar because something like that is too trivial and frowned upon by the farm. And Edgar says that if Cheryl wants to be prom queen, she can, but then she can no longer talk to Jason. And you know Cheryl's love as Jason is like stronger than anything, so she chooses Jason over prom queen and just gives up and lets Betty and Jughead change the theme. Then Betty and Jughead get the pretty poisons and serpents minus Cheryl and Tony to call a truce for prom night to work together to capture this Gargoyle King. Then comes prom night, and somehow Riverdale can't afford computers or other things from this decade, but every kid in town can manage to get some kind of Renaissance fair medieval times garb in like a day's notice. Like, what freaking town is this? They have like the crappiest little shops, and then here they have a costume shop that can fit an entire like junior class with outfits. Also, do schools really do this for prom? I've heard of themes like this, but I feel like I've never actually seen it in real life or on anything except a TV show. And also this prom theme kind of like totally reminds me of that episode of Saved by the Bell that I got emotional over as a youngster when Kelly broke up with Zach to date the manager of the Max, who ended up cheating on her at the attic. And now I'm really digressing. Seriously, if your school does prom themes that require costumes, please leave me a comment below. I want to know what school you go to. Now at the prom though, we see that Fangs and Kevin go together, so I guess finally that has actually progressed into a thing. There's a bonus ad clip for AT&T of a promposal with Fangs practicing it for Kevin with Evelyn. I don't know why that wasn't in the episode. I feel like that could have like been a fun thing, but that happens. And then we have Cheryl telling Tony when they're dancing that the appeal of the farm is starting to make less sense to her. Thank you, Cheryl, for starting to come to your senses. We then see Betty hand over ballots to Peaches just to ensure that she wins this prom queen, and she does win, but disappeared before she can accept the crown, throwing off Jughead's plan, and they're all like, where the hell did Betty go? Well, before she could be crowned, Betty was handed an invitation from someone who it came from someone else, from someone else, from someone else, and it's an invitation from the Gargoyle King telling her to go to the women's restroom, the same restroom from the Ascension night, and to go alone, otherwise everybody else will suffer. So as Betty goes, we get flashbacks of Alice also going to the bathroom from that flashback episode. When Betty gets there, she finds the bathroom covered in all the symbols saying like choose your fate, and there's 2 chalices, but Betty's like, yeah, not today, Satan, and she's not drinking from those chalices, and then the lights go out. She goes back into the hallway and sees the Gargoyle King there and pulls out a gun because somehow, yes, she has a gun, and now I guess she knows how to use it from her firing practice. But then she gets tackled by the Black Hood because, yeah, if you thought the Black Hood was really dead by now, you've obviously never watched an episode of this damn show. So they fight. Betty knocks him out maybe a couple times, does not bother to grab the mask as she's running away. I don't know why. But they fight throughout the school. We see different dead bodies, and at first I thought one of the dead bodies was Evelyn, but it wasn't, and I kind of got sad. Betty eventually then takes refuge in the closet under the stairs where Jughead used to sleep, and there's a decapitated body in there, I think? Yeah, not a place I'd want to hang out for very long, but the Black Hood is standing there banging on this door, trying to break in, and just so you know, the Black Hood now has a hook for a hand, so yeah, Hal cut his own hand off. Planned this whole thing, sacrificed his hand to make it believable. That is dedication, man, and this is also kind of ripping off, you know, Captain Hook, and I know what you did last summer. But eventually the Black Hood leaves and Jughead knocks on the door, and Betty is like, did you see the Black Hood? And Jughead's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. They then go to FP's office to fill him in and basically determine everything was a setup, including the gospel to get Betty and Hal alone again. And now they have 2 serial killers on the loose who they think could actually be working together. So then Betty goes to see Alice again to warn her that Hal is alive and possibly coming to the farm next. And they're like, what do we do? And magically Edgar appears there to tell Betty to let the farm protect her. And Betty actually freaking says yes, that she'll stay at the farm. And it's like, really, Betty? Here I thought you were the smart one. Let's just hope you're playing along to do your own undercover work here to prove that maybe the Black Hood and Gargoyle King are working together. Gargoyle King meaning Edgar, possibly, because come on, Hiram is too short to be the Gargoyle King unless he is on some major stilts. Chad Michael Murray, Edgar's body, it's pretty tall and lean, right? Plus the symbols on his back, we know that there's supposed to be tattoos on the Gargoyle King, so Edgar could have easily covered those up with makeup to make it look like he has none, you know, just like they do on TV shows to cover up tattoos like the ones KJ Apa has in real life. But yeah, that pretty much ends the events of this episode, and I do have to say that the last 10 minutes with the Black Hood Betty chase was actually kind of exciting. But I am not happy about having to deal with this stupid Black Hood again. Seriously, 2 seasons of this, I thought we were done with this. Hopefully we can kill him off for good before this season's over, but what on earth does Hal still want? Why does he keep going after his own daughter? If he's working with Edgar or whoever this Gargoyle King is, it's like, why? Like, I saw some theories out there thinking that Edgar is Charles, Alice's dead son, but Charles is supposed to be around 25 or 26, and Edgar's definitely older than that. But yeah, this show just leaves me more confused every episode, and thankfully we only have a couple left, so let's go ahead and just watch the promo for the next one.
Big change is coming to Riverdale.
If I win, you walk away from Riverdale.
Tell me your fears.
We are all in danger.
Now you just sound cuckoo pants. You're not gonna win this.
Says who?
Kill him! This ends now!
The King. I can tell you who he is.
That's impossible.
Okay, Ethel looks like she's trying to redeem herself by revealing who the Gargoyle King is, but does she actually know, or is this just to lead us off the wrong path again, down the wrong path again? I mean, with Jughead saying that's impossible, now I'm really confused on who it could be, because now it seems like Edgar, Hal, and Hiram are just too obvious. Can we go with some ridiculous dead person like Clifford or Jason, or maybe they'll pull a Scream and make it FP? Gladys, maybe she'll come back? What would you do if it was like Mary Andrews or something? That would be kind of funny. But I guess we're just going to have to sit here and kind of rack our brains for 2 more episodes to figure out who it is. But I want to hear from you down in the comments. What did you like? What did you dislike about this episode? Do you think the Black Hood and Gargoyle King are working together? And who do you think this Gargoyle King is? Do you think Archie can actually defeat Hiram as well? Let me know all your thoughts and theories and anything you'll want to post down in the comments below. And after that, you can click right over here for my recent interviews with Sophia Carson and Catherine McNamara about the Perfectionists and Shadowhunters. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can come back and talk to me about all things Riverdale, because we only got a couple episodes left. I'm Lisa. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.